Esta sesión era en inglés, pero como veo diferentes audiencias voy a intentar hacerla en Spanglish. So this session was intended to be in English. I will try to explain in both languages more or less. Okay? So as you know, we are going to talk today about the PM Square, which is the methodology that Commission developed to conduct projects. My name is Montaña Franco. I'm a digital lover at Entity Data since long time ago, 2013 actually. I was born in Extremadura, but I'm living in Brussels. I'm doing Drupal since long time ago as well, 2010, and I'm, let's say, switched to the dark side of the force, becoming to be a project manager since 2016. And of course, I'm a Drupal lover, so I have been collaborating with the Spanish Association of Drupal since long time ago, 2014, if I remember well. So, what is PM Square? So, as I already mentioned, it's a methodology developed by the European Commission that is transferable to any organization. It's light and easy to implement. It has a fully supporting and comprehensive training program that I will explain later. It has also certain certifications that you can take if you like the methodology and you are interested in. And also it is providing open online documentation supported as an active community. So actually it's like Drupal. There is a community behind supporting everything. It's open and is to be used for whoever that they want to. PM Square is mixing global accepted project management best practices in terms of project governance and structure, processes and guidelines. We have also some artifacts, templates, that they are very useful when you are conducting project management, like for example, risk template, change log template, consumptions report, plenty of them. We will review them later on. And it also provides a set of mindsets to help you to think about the project, about the client needs, and to really focus on what you are asked for, which is conduct the project from A to Z, from the beginning till the end. What is at the end the key part of what is the added value? Is in this sense the methodology improves from my point of view, or is intended to improve everything related with communication, expectations. We have also different phases of the project that you will find these are the regular ones. It has also monitoring and control during the whole process and a clear definition of the activities that you have to perform normally in terms of plan, meetings, decisions, also certain agile tools, etc. And what really makes the difference, or I believe it makes the difference, is that it's based or built in main 4 pillars, which are a governance model, which by the way I think is very needed in the projects to define roles and responsibilities, a very good project life cycle that is including phases, deliverables, stakeholders, who is responsible of what, who has to be informed or what, etc. And as I already mentioned, certain set of templates. So with these 4 pillars, in European Commission, they really think that the process is effective in terms of delivery and is really providing benefits and solutions. So what is the PM Square life cycle? As you can see here, is very regular. So we have initiating, planning, execution, closing, and during the whole process, we have monitoring and control. And of course, as on every phase of the project, we start and we more and more increase the effort that we need. And once the main work of the phase is done, we start decreasing the activities we need to do in order to start the next phase. But of course, the theory is amazing, but it's true that in some times you have to do while you are finishing one phase, you start, or you have to start the next one. That's why, in that sense, it's very flexible. And there are deliverables during the whole process that they are intended to, let's say, ensure we finalize a phase properly, even if you already started the next one, because of whatever needs, holidays, client needs, availability of the team, availability of the client to review and approve documents, etc. Okay? So, what is the initiation phase? So it is defined to at the end create the business cases, define the scope of the project, have a good start at the end, okay? And in that sense, the activities is the ones that you can see here. So normally what happens is that you have a client, they call to you or they launch a tender and they tell you, I have this need, okay? In this moment, gathering all this information that the client expressed to you, in this methodology we create what we call the project initiation request, PIR. And it's containing the information about the client, the business needs, and the desired project outcomes that the client is asking for, okay? Then we create the business case. I think this is one of the key parts of this methodology because there is really a template to collect all the business case the client needs. And in this template you will see later on that is really, you will be able really to gather the justification of their needs, okay? Defined also requirements. Have different sections with the business context, with the problems that they might have, that they want to resolve with this project, whatever description, not only about the project, also about non-functional requirements, functional requirements, content requirements, everything. The template, this is one of my favorites actually. And with these two documents, we create what is the project charter, which is a document that provides, in a very high level since the moment, a project definition in terms of scope, cost, time, and risks. So we are in the initiation phase, starting to think about the risk, which is very important to conduct an appropriate project, meaning that client and team is going to be happy at the end. In that moment, in the plan, we also include some information about the deliverables that we think we might need to produce. Some milestones we already put in a Gantt diagram, and what is going to be the project organization, not only on our side as a company, but also on the client side. So we are defining here who will be in charge of during the whole process. Then we start with the planning phase. We already anticipated a little bit during the initiation phase, so the client is also gathering our, let's say, feeling about the project, but it's really in this phase, in the planning phase, where we have more detail. As I mentioned, in the initiation phase is very rough, very high level. Here we go deep in detail in planning, elaborating really the whole project plan, assigning to our core team in the company the different activities that we might need to perform, okay? What are the activities we are conducting on this phase? First of all, a kickoff, and you will see that in this methodology we have always a kickoff that is starting every phase, always. We create what we call the project handbook, which is going to define the management approach we are taking in place. Normally is to explain this methodology and the different deliverables that make sense to conduct in the project, because not all the deliverables that are part of this methodology are always needed, of course. We create also a project work plan with a more detailed breakdown and cost and a schedule. And we refined, and in that moment agree with the client what is going to be what we call the project stakeholders matrix. For example, imagine that, okay, you have your project owner, we have identified some business stakeholders from the client, but imagine they want to also include in the execution of the project any other stakeholder, any other users from their website. In that moment is when they have to come to us with that information, so it is covered in the stakeholder matrix. And then we really do an internal plan in the part of our site, in the company, to really see or to do what we call the staffing. You know, who is doing what internally, what are the profiles we really need to conduct a successful project. So we are ready for the execution. In the execution, we normally coordinate, as you know, as project managers, we coordinate all the work, all the dependencies we have with different stakeholders, with different teams that they are involved on the execution. I think you might be aware of everything, but UX researchers, designers, accessibility people that will also provide to us very good feedback to really develop a nice project, technical leaders that they might start thinking about the solution, defining more in detail, technically speaking, what we have to do. Maybe we need a Scrum Master if the project is very complex, you know, to conduct really the sprint plan that we will put later on in place during the execution. So the activities is again a kickoff to explain to the client how we are going to proceed with the execution, what is the timeline, etc. What is very important and very key, communication management plan, because from time to time we think that people or clients are taking the information and most probably they are not. In some cases, I don't know if it's your case, but sometimes client is not really or they don't feel comfortable, for example, with Jira tickets. They don't understand what is the logic behind by creating an epic with the functionality, and then they start looking at tickets that are really technical. They don't understand if they have to put information there or not, what is their role. So we create a communication management plan where we inform to them really what they have to do, what they have to check, you know, and what is the type of information and in which format they have to also communicate with us. We also produce our plan for the different deliverables we might need during this phase, and the most important, quality and assurance of different activities to ensure that the agreed plan, the agreed scope is really you know, following the standards that we have defined in whatever context. Can be documentation in English, can be quality and assurance of code, in that case, I don't know, Drupal following the standards, securitized code, so that we are really making secure code, that we are up to date on any module, Drupal core, etc. And with this information, we create what we call the deliverables acceptance plan. So we tell the client, you are going to receive this deliverable on that date. We think that you might need, I don't know, 1 week, 2 days, whatever time, where you have to provide us feedback. Then we will refine the document and you will receive that back again for your acceptance. Of course, this is flexible. If the project is complex, you can also plan a deliverable plan that is having more than 1 round of revision for whatever functionalities, any documentation, whatever is needed. During the whole process, and as I already explained, we have the monitoring and control phase. This is really the part where the project managers, we are really involved, and this is, you know, directly our job, because on the different phases we introduce other kind of profiles. I already mentioned not only project management, UX, UI, accessibility, technical leads, but this is really our work. So monitoring and control is really to monitor and control the project, ensuring that all the activities are well performed, and if it's not the case, to reconduct the situation. So we normally measure progress, manage changes, address any risk, any issue that the team has identified or we have identified, and we apply the needed correction as you know. So all the work needs to be observed during that phase. And as you can see here, we have a branch of different activities with also templates that really help us to do the monitoring and control. And then we have the closing phase, where we have a project closure meeting, when we also do internally, but also with the client, a lessons learned meeting where we all discuss about their feeling, our feeling, because we also give feedback to the clients. We agree on a best practices for future, so we incorporate these lessons learned into the context of PM Square, and we provide these lessons learned to the PM Square community so they can keep refining this methodology and improving this methodology. And then we do all the paperwork to close the project, as you know, invoicing, etc., etc. One of the best things that we have on that methodology, as I already mentioned, these are the artifacts. So really the artifacts are templates that you can use to conduct the project, and that will help you to do not forget anything, have the possibility to mitigate everything that is coming. So these are the templates that we have per phase. So during the initiating phase, we have, as I already mentioned, the project initiation request, the business case template, and the project charter. During the planning, we have requirements management plan, project change management plan, very important, risk management plan, quite important as well, issue management plan, quality, communication plan, and then more detail with the, let's say, development work. We have outsourcing, if it is the case, might not be applicable in some cases, which is fine, project work plan, a stakeholder matrix, the handbook, and then we have deliverables, transition plan, and business implementation plan. These two, I have to be honest, I never have the chance to use that templates, so I won't be able to really explain to you how they can be used. While during the execution, I don't know in your case, but in commission, we normally plan everything in sprints. So we have regular meetings with the client that, of course, we collect any meeting minutes reflecting action points, agreements for any stakeholder. We have also, we keep refining the change plan that we produced in the very beginning in the planning phase. We refine it during the execution, because this is life, they change their mind. They tend to don't think about everything in the very beginning. That's why I recommend you to put always a kind of buffer just in case for the execution. And they keep asking changes, is fine, but we have to manage them. And then we have, in terms of reports, the progress report, which is very important, quality review, and project status to really inform the client if we are going well or we are not, and have the possibility between all the parties to refine or replan if needed. While in the closing, the only deliverable that we have is the project end report. Okay? In terms of monitoring, we have our change log, which is similar to the change request form, but is really having a log. So you are not going to have on this deliverable all the details about a change that they are requesting. Same with the issues, same with the risk, and very important, any decision that has been taken in the context of the project that is changing the planning, the scope, the effort, or the budget has to be registered in the decision log. Okay? Then we have the project work plan that is keeping up to date every sprint, in our case, in commission. And then we have a very good checklist that will also help us to understand if we are going well or not, which are deliverables, transition, business implementation, if it's the case, stakeholders, because they might be people, they go on sick leave, they go on holidays, people have their backups, they are being replaced from time to time, so we have to keep always the checklist. Okay, this person is leaving the project, but what is the backup? Okay, then I mark it in my checklist. My project owner is not leaving the project, you know. And then quality, and in order to prepare the finalization of the project accordingly, we also have a very good checklist to ensure a proper closure of the project. So, as I cannot explain every deliverable, I have downloaded the last updates this morning, and I wonder if you are interested in checking 1, 2, 3 of these deliverables. So, what are you interested to check? I can open the document, put it here, and explain it. So you can see really what are the artifacts that I think is the key part of this methodology. Project charter. Ooh.
You say that is one of the most important ones, no?
I think so. We will see if you agree, no? Project charter. Okay, I think you can see it properly. Maybe I have to do it bigger. Yeah, I have to do it bigger. Can you see it well? Yes? Okay. Don't forget this is very commission oriented, but of course if you use it for another kind of client, you can always remove all the logos, all the digits, unit, whatever, okay, it's fine. This is for your use, it's open. You are also allowed to remove PM square or whatever you need. So here we have document control information because the client has to review it, so we tend to produce title, project title has to be very clear. Who is the author? It has to be a company or a person, okay? Who is the project owner? It has to be a person. This is very important because it's the one that is gonna approve. Who is the project manager? Because in some cases, I don't know if it's your case, but at least on my experience, a project has what is the project owner, which is, let's say, in the business part, so defining the requirements, the needs, and then we have a project manager, which is, or this person normally has a kind of, with more or less advanced knowledge of IT, and this is the project manager. Normally, project owner is more involved in the initiation phase. Project manager starts to be involved on the planning phase, but of course on the execution and the closing. And project owner is there, but really they are more involved in the initiation and in the closure, okay? Version sensibility, I mean, maybe the project is confidential, so you mark it here, if it can be public or not, okay? And what is the date? Then we have, as regular, the workflow of approval of the document on this table, a little bit of information, you know, that people might need, like in this template, why things are in orange, why things are in blue, and so on. And then this is the table of content. So we normally in the project charter do an executive summary, considerations on the business case. I see people from US doing like, yeah, we need that. Project description, so what is the scope of the project, what is in, what is out, certain scope statement, what they think or what we gather from them should be the success criteria of the project. We start here talking about different stakeholders. They will use the site, they will create content, they will consume the information, they will collaborate on different phases, plus what are the user needs of those stakeholders. We start talking here with the client about deliverables, about main features, about constraints that they think they have, some assumptions that we do on our side, of course, risks, and then here, we, as I already mentioned, we start talking about very high level roof, estimation of costs, very high level roof, planning in terms of timing and milestone, different resources we might need to commit with the work on our side, on their side, because normally they need advices on what is the different people they have to involved in the project and when, and what is the effort these people might need, so they need to also handle their time. And in this case, we also explain the methodology, change management, how we are going to approach that, the governance, which, by the way, if you remember, was one of the pillars, and any reference or relating documentation the client or on our site we produce. Is that clear? Do you want me to go further on any of those topics? This is just a template. In the template, it's true that in blue you have very valid information of what is this point reflecting or intended to reflect, and what is the information that you have to compose there, as you can see. ¿Algún otro template que alguien quiera ver? Business case, which is one of my favorites. I don't know, huh? You tell me. Let me put again the presentation.
I want also that one and also the risk management.
Risk management and business cases? Okay. Business cases. I think it's more or less like the other one. I hope you can see it well. If not, let me know. Again, control information, approvers, reviewers, and the document inventory is always part of any template. Okay, so let's go deep into the point. Okay, we have project information, initiation request, valid information, actually is the executive summary. It is explained in the other template that you have to copy paste it here in order to keep, let's say, the atmosphere of the project, because here we are talking about business. And then we have, in the context of the business case is being defined with this document, you have to create one document of this per business case. Okay, so normally you will have a branch of business cases splitting in documents using that template. So in the context, what is the description or the urgency that they have with this business need, and what is the situation that is impacting us or them to have this business case. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that, at least on commission or in the projects that I'm involved, the client is not the only one producing business cases and needs. We also, as an expert, we help them and we produce relevant business cases because, I mean, to help them, to advise them that maybe they need. It's true that we don't do it normally in the very beginning, so we tend to gather all the information from them and complement with the extra business cases maybe they forgot or they are not taking into consideration. Okay, so as I mentioned, situation impact. So the business need is impacting on processes inside the organization, is impacting on stakeholders and users, interrelations, interdependencies. What are the expected outcomes that this business need is producing? Maybe it's a mock-up design, maybe it's an information architecture, maybe it's a feature only for back office, backend, maybe it's only in terms of front-end. We start thinking about that. What are the possible alternatives in case they are producing a business need that is going to be really hard to implement later on? That's why in this process, as I already mentioned, we have the technical leaders intervening to double check what is the complexity and produce alternatives that are committing with the needs. And solution description. What are the legal bases? What are the benefits? What is the acceptance criteria? What is the scope of this business? The impact? What are the deliverables we have to produce with this business case? Some assumptions. Here we put assumptions everywhere. What are the constraints if we have any risk? And then we complement that information later on a little bit with the cost, the effort, and the roadmap. And in case you have a business need that is having any dependency with other stakeholders, you mark it here on synergies and interdependencies. And of course, we always put business project owner, solution provider, and approving authority, because it might happen that if the organization that you are working for is very big, different type of business needs might depend on different type of business owners. We cannot assume that there will be only a business owner. So it's very important also that if we have more than one, we reflect it here. And then you mentioned, David, you want to check risk management.
But Montaña, apart from the template, does the methodology provide also some tools to discover the requirements and these kind of things? Because it's only a template, I think that in the end, to discover what the customer needs. Okay. To discover what the customer needs, probably there are some practices or I don't know, things that you must do to discover the requirements.
I understand. Since this is very general, to conduct any project, it's true that depending on the type of project, inside the initiation and the planning phase, you might conduct activities to, for example, gather all the requirements.
That's what I mean. For example, I don't know, a mystery map or something like that. This kind of dynamics just to help you with the discovery of the product.
What we normally do in the initiation part, we ask them to fill this template, and once we have this information, then we do the homework on our site, and we propose to them, depending on the information they are providing, different workshops to discuss more in detail.
But that's not in the methodology, it's the way that you work in the end.
Yeah, exactly. The methodology is quite general, and then you have to make sure, that's why you have deliverables plan and you have activity plan to go deep in detail and decide, okay, for me to really gather the requirements,
I'm going to use this. Okay.
We propose to you to have these 3 workshops. One to talk about personas information architecture, another one to talk more in detail about your requirements, and another one to clarify, to propose, to show to you what is our understanding, so you have a better view on what we are getting.
That's clear. Thank you.
Si te parece bien, como la gente está preguntando, que pregunten, y la ronda de preguntas pues la incluimos en el tiempo total, ¿vale?
Yeah, indeed. I would like to add something. David, here we should consider this as project management framework. This is not how we apply our methodology when we are executing the project. So we saw in the outline, we also explain our approach, which, for example, like Montaña explained, both in design and development, we, for example, follow human-centered design methodology, and this is the part that we gather all the requirements from client side, from business side and user side. Yeah, this is project management, and then the way that we are executing is it's an approach. Yeah. I would say.
It depends on the type of the project. As you know, it's not the same that you are creating a project from scratch, that you are doing a migration of a project that is already there, you have to migrate to another technology. The way we require the business needs is different, but with this methodology, we always ensure that at least the phases are the ones that we have here, and we produce these deliverables because they really help. And also, as I already explained, there is a mindset that I think you will really find interesting, that is also making to you to think if you have all the information that you need or not.
Thank you. For me, one part of the phase that I find difficult to understand is how to manage the client after defining the business requirements. Mm-hmm. And whilst they've been defined, they keep asking for, they keep discovering more features that they want to add.
That's why we have the change management plan with the change log and the change request form.
Where's that? Sorry, I can't see it.
Project change management plan in the planning. change form during the execution, because normally it's there where they start to finding that they want to introduce changes or they forgot to ask for specific things, and we keep always a log in the change log in the monitoring. Okay. I propose we continue.
Yep.
We don't have so many time, and later on, if I have time, I will post the risk management. If not, I can show to you later, or you can always go to download it in the PM Square website. Okay, the mindsets. It's very important for me to explain that part because this is also very beauty on this methodology. So the mindsets, it says in the PM Square that is the attitudes and the behaviors that help the project team to focus on what is really needed and what is important to achieve, which are the project goals, okay? So we as project managers and our team, we need to ensure that we always apply the best practices in the project, that we remain, let's say, mindful with the methodology that we are working with, you know, that actually methodology is serving the project and not the other way around, as you know, that we are committing with the results that we are requested to. Also, that we have this project culture of collaboration between all the parties together with the client, you know, they have to feel that they are part of the team to really have a succeed. Otherwise, if they feel isolated, they tend to do not communicate, as you know, and then they most probably they are going to receive a solution that is not what they need. To ensure always that we support and we involve the needed stakeholders. That's why it's very important the stakeholder matrix and the stakeholder checklist, to do not forget anybody, okay? And that we will put in value our experience, our knowledge, investing in technicalities, in business, in design. So we really need to have this investment in mind. Also, share knowledge, as I mentioned, is very important. That's why we have the communication plan. And inspiration. I believe that our role as a project manager has to be very inspiring. I mean, if it's not the case, most probably the team will get demotivated and the client will get demotivated as well with the project. So we have to be really the heart of the project, you know, keeping everybody motivated, inspired, and everything. What happens normally is that everything in the very beginning is amazing, is very well planned, but then things are starting to be, sorry for the word, messy. So maybe, and this is very important as well, and I really love that methodology for that, you have certain moments of the project where you will need to stop and think. Do we really know what we are doing? I mean, this thing that was supposed to be done by us and that they are doing, but we have to integrate it, I mean, do we know? Or I don't know. Does anyone really care about this specific feature that apparently nobody is gonna use? Can we maybe remove it, you know? Do we know who is doing what? Who has to approve what? Because from time to time, people avoid the responsibilities because they are busy and so on, and we keep moving. This is a very common error that we cannot allow. We have to be strict with the responsibilities of everybody that we have in the stakeholder matrix. Do we have to deliver at any cost? My team is getting stressed, is getting panicking everywhere. They are running like a chicken without head. Should we maybe stop and replan the situation, reconduct, talk with the client, prioritize? I don't know. But do we have to deliver at any cost? Of course, my vision is no. Should I involve any other kind of people with more experience maybe, or with another different type of role that I didn't consider in the very beginning, but given an issue, given a risk, or whatever? Should I bring anybody to the project? Are we improving or are we continuously doing same mistakes again and again? What is happening after the project? Because this is also that we need to take into consideration. You know, is gonna be maintained by us or not? Because if it's not, maybe I forgot to put a specific documentation in order to do a handover to another team. This is very important, but we tend to not think what is happening after. So we finished, it's done. And then we realize that the client might need to maintain, and we are all panicking because we have to create admin tutorial, user tutorial, editorial tutorial, provide to them trainings. This is very common that we forget about that. So it's very important that from time to time in the project, you ask yourself and you talk with the team about these questions. Okay, as I already mentioned, PM Square is open, like Drupal, and I put here some resources. I will share my presentation later on my socials, but we have a very good website under europa.eu that you can check. There you have, of course, more information that I explained today because we don't have time. I could keep talking about PM Square 24 hours, but we don't have time, unfortunately. I already put here the artifacts. They are part of the same website. And of course, there is a community in the Join Up europa.eu website with forums, questions and answers, what are the plans to improve the methodology and so on that you can always check. If you check on LinkedIn, there is also a community, but I didn't put it here because it's not official by commission, but it's really helpful, and there you have people working with this methodology already certified, and they from time to time do meetups, now in person. Normally we used to meet up by video. I would like also to mention that today I explained to you what is the project management methodology, but there is also a methodology open to use, more related with Agile, which is having also artifacts and pillars. They are different, okay? There is also a program management methodology and a portfolio management methodology. All this information, these books, you can download them for free from the europa.eu publications website for free on PDF. You can also buy the book if you want, a very low cost, €8 or something like that, each book, if you prefer to read in paper. And of course, the methodology has certifications that are open for everybody, independently that you are an individual, you are an organization, you are a training provider. You can also get a certification to train people to get the certification, and of course, for any other funded project by European Union, you can also, via European Union, get the certification for free, okay? And that's all. Apart of the risk management, do you have any other question? Any clarification? ¿Alguna pregunta? ¿Queréis que explique algo en español si no ha quedado claro en inglés?
What's the difference between,
Well, sorry, first. What's the difference between this and the standard P&I methodology? Because it looks quite similar.
Well, as I already mentioned, this methodology is, bringing best practices from any others, but it's really commission oriented. It's the way that in commission, when you have a request from commission, you will be really asked for this kind of templates, fill it by you as a contractor.
But it looks really similar to the standard
it's very
P&I.
similar. Yeah,
so
I think they were smart and they
nothing new, but adapted to.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's very similar. I think they were smart creating this methodology, keeping in mind others' methodologies, and there is work behind or outside the European Commission. They wanted to create an open methodology, but fitting also with European Union organization needs. Actually, I think I have a diagram somewhere in the beginning. This one. In this one, you can see that this commission who is doing this methodology for European institutions, but they are gathering and incorporating feedback from any member state, any contractor, any citizen, or whatever. For me, the added value is really the artifacts, because it's very easy by using the artifacts, and especially the checklist, that you cover everything. This is for me the key. And also the certification is easier, for example, than PMP, and of course cheaper. It's 200 euros, 300 euros. And there is plenty of information provided by Commission, training programs, recording, everything. More questions? Yes.
If I can use my own words. Of course, this is depending on the size of the project, but for example, in the Agile projects, we have Scrum Master, right? So in this case, I would say the ownership, this following up this whole framework when project is being handled by PM Square. Mm-hmm. I think what I would guess, it is project management, but maybe if the project is so big, this person, like a PM Square master, may be involved as well, maybe someone certified too, right? So I was wondering how you foresee involvement of this person who's expert on this framework to follow up if everything, all the artifacts are being followed, everything, like, because it should be someone external, how I see, like, not really part of daily work, I would say.
There is, if the project is really agile, you shouldn't use this methodology. You should use the PM Square Agile, because it's agile, it's having other kind of artifacts. In some cases are the same, in some others they are not. Okay?
The same question that I have. This looks like a cascade project, not an agile one. So.
Exactly. Well, I propose project management. Maybe next year I can propose the agile.
No, it looks like that, but when you saw that one in green,
yeah.
that's sense.
Another thing is that we are saying that the project is agile, but in the very beginning we have a closed scope. Yeah. We can call it agile, but it's not.
Did you test that one with a real agile project without clear requirements and this kind of thing?
I didn't have the chance, but I'm going to start a project in Commission that is going to be really agile in the coming months. So it's when I'm going to test and start working on that methodology. That's why I propose project management, because it's
Next year.
But next year, hopefully, I will propose the agile one, and we will see if it's accepted. More questions? Don't be shy. No seáis tímidos, venga. No? Nada más? Okay, I will be around. You have my details. I'm social all the time. So if you have any other question that you don't want to do in public, or maybe after that you think, oh, maybe I didn't understand that or whatever, just post me a tweet, write me an email, write me on LinkedIn or whatever, okay? And I can resolve. Thanks for coming. Last but not least, my colleagues from Lisbon, they are organizing a very amazing Drupal Day in Lisbon in October. So check the QR, all the information is there. I really propose to you that you propose sessions. You can propose sessions in English. You can propose sessions in Portuguese if you are ready to, okay? But of course, join us on Drupal Day Lisbon, okay? Thank you, our speakers, and thank you to you for coming.